Hello, and welcome to the Simi Valley Youth Employment Service, YES, Interview Skills Workshop. I'm Gloria Bowman, Chair of the YES Advisory Board. Our board members here today are Kristen, Joyce, Tim, and Tammy. The members of our board usually do this presentation live at each of our high schools and the Simi Valley Public Library, but today we come to you virtually. Please go to simivalley.org/YES to download a copy of the workbook. We will be referencing it throughout the program. Now, I would like to hand off to Kristen Tignack, our Youth Employment Service Coordinator, who will share with you what we will be covering in this presentation. Kristen?
Thank you, Gloria. Hi, my name is Kristen Tignack. As Gloria mentioned, I'll be going over what we're going to cover today. You're going to be learning about how to prepare for your job search, where to get a work permit, and what the eligibility requirements are. Creating a tell me about yourself networking pitch, the importance of first impressions. We're going to also go over the application process and the interview process, how to keep your job and how to leave your job. And we're going to follow up with how to find job openings right now. Back to you, Gloria.
Thank you, Kristen. Today, we're going to start with before you apply. Please review your digital first impression. Your email needs to be professional, such as firstname.lastname@gmail.com. You also need to be checking it daily to find out whether you have any contacts from any potential employers. For your social networking sites, check the contents of your post. Make sure that there's nothing on your social media site that will embarrass your grandmother. You are guilty by association. Any photographs that you have posted or your friends have posted that you have been tagged on, if they are embarrassing and will keep you from getting a job, you need to delete them. If you have a LinkedIn profile, make sure it's up to date and your contact information is correct. For your outgoing voicemail, it needs to be professional, such as, you've reached Gloria's mailbox. Please leave your name, phone number, and a brief message, and I will be returning your call. You need to make sure that your voice mailbox is activated. As an employer, if I call and I can't leave a message, I will bypass your application and move on. If your phone message is something with loud noises and music and you think it's funny, I will not be leaving a message for you. Once you do receive a message from a prospective employer, make sure that you return their phone call as soon as possible. Leave them a message with your name, your phone number, and when it's the best time to call you. You need to keep your lines of communication open. And now I'm going to hand it off to Tammy, who's going to talk to you about work permits if you're under 18. Tammy?
Thank you, Gloria. And I'm Tammy, and I'm going to be talking to you about work permits. If you are under the age of 18, then you must have a work permit. What you do need to know is you don't need a work permit to apply for a job. You just need to know if you're eligible. If you have at least a 2.0 grade point average, 90% attendance, and less than 6 period truants, then you are indeed eligible. You can go to your local high school to see where it is that they issue work permits. Most high schools have a work experience office, so you can get your work permit there. Again, if you haven't interviewed for a job or applied for a job, you don't need the work permit. But if you know that that's something you're going to do, then you can pick up a work permit application. It doesn't need to be filled out until after you're hired. And with that, I'm going to send it back to Gloria.
Thank you, Tammy. You have now managed to get an interview. And one of the very first questions after your introduction is going to be, so tell me about yourself. In the workbook on pages 10 through 12, there are references and a worksheet. There's a format. You want to include your relevant facts, minimal personal information, and what you can do for them versus what they can do for you. You're going to make sure that this is prepared. You don't want it to be memorized, but you need to have it flow off the tip of your tongue. Think about it like an essay. There's an introduction, which includes your name, age, grade, and school. The body, which is an overview of your previous experience, and the conclusion, how that experience is relevant to the job you are applying for. You'll find all of that information in your workbook and how to answer questions. You can fill in the blank version and practice it. For example, if you have babysitting experience or a TA in 8th grade at your middle school and play on a soccer team, then you would say something like, my name is Sam. I'm a sophomore at Santa Susana High School and am turning 16 in April. I have previous childcare experience, have been entrusted with confidential information as a TA at Hillside Middle School, and am an active soccer player. I'm interested in working at Play It Again Sports because the responsibility I've learned as a babysitter and the experience I have with sports makes me an ideal candidate for you. You want to make this about what you can do for them, how your skills are relevant to them, not what they can do for you, such as hand you a paycheck. Don't tell them how many brothers and sisters you have, the names of your cat, dog, horses, or any other animals. Limit the personal information to what is on the application. Let them read that. And keep it relevant to the job you are applying for. If you are applying to several different companies, you want to tweak your TMA, or tell me about yourself, or elevator speech, whatever you want to call it, tweak it to the position that you are applying for. Know your skills, know your references, and go for the job. We're now moving on to applying for jobs. Joyce is going to start with what to wear. Joyce?
Thank you, Gloria. Hi, my name is Joyce Moses. I'm a retired high school teacher. I've been on the board with the Youth Employment Services for 3 years. Today, I'm going to discuss with you what to wear and not to wear to a job interview. Remember, you want to wear professional attire. Look at person number 5. He's in a dress shirt and tie with professional pants and nice professional shoes. He is perfect for applying for a job. Let's look at lady number 1. She is also wearing a blazer. She's wearing a skirt and flat shoes, which are perfect. The only thing that I would suggest for her is that she wear a skirt that comes more to her knees. A short skirt is nice, but not for an interview. If you wear jewelry, be sure to wear very simple jewelry. Remember, when it comes to jewelry, less is best. And do not wear perfume or aftershave. Ladies, when you are wearing shoes, do not wear 5-inch heels. They might be great for going out, but this is for a job interview. So 1 to 2-inch heels would be fine. Remember, do not wear shorts, do not wear jeans, do not wear tennis shoes or sandals when applying for a job. So let me ask you a question here. If you were applying for a job as a sports coach, look at person number 3. He's wearing what a sports coach would wear on the job. Is that okay to wear for the job interview? The answer is no. For a job interview, remember, it's professional attire only. Remember, for a job interview, you always want to dress for success. And now I'm going to introduce Tim. He will speak to you about first impressions.
Thank you, Joyce. Hello, everyone. My name is Tim Harrington, and I want to talk to you a little bit about first impressions. The one thing we know about first impressions is you can't take them back. In other words, that first impression you make in that very few seconds, that is long lasting, and it takes a long time to overcome that first impression. And in fact, behavioral scientists say the rule of 7-11, that the average person makes 11 assumptions or decisions about an individual within the first 7 seconds. So you want to make sure that you're nice to everyone. And what I would say is not just for the interview, but you should get up every day and be nice to everyone. That's the way your mantra should be. You never know about the person in the parking lot, the receptionist at the front desk, who's related to who and who may be talking to you about that job. Eye contact is very important. It shows a level of sincerity and interest. If your head is down and you're not engaged with that particular person you're talking to, they're thinking that you're maybe being forced to go in there to get that job. Be aware of your body posture. Real important if you're leaning in or you're leaning back. You want to make sure that you look enthusiastic and that you seem like you really want the job. I'm going to talk quite a bit in the next few slides about this next comment. You want to make sure that you have a completed fact sheet and cover letter, and a resume would just be great. But the completed fact sheet should be that information that would tell you or remind you of perhaps your previous addresses, what year you went to school at a particular middle school or high school, maybe where else you've worked before. So it's really important that you bring that fact sheet with you. You should also bring enthusiasm. You want to make sure that you bring your enthusiasm and your energy. I know personally as a manager that I like to have people that seem like they want to be there. If they're giving you kind of a dull appearance during that interview, what are they going to be like after they get the job? Bring a black or blue pen with you as well, because in some cases you may not have had the opportunity to fill out the application, but if you have a blue or black pen with you, you'll be able to do that there in the lobby or at this place of business. Again, bring that completed fact sheet or the copy of the application. Ensure that you have a professional demeanor. In other words, your language, how you interact with people, and the icing on the cake would be a resume. That shows really a differentiator from what maybe your peers or someone else that's applying for the job. Next, I want to talk about what not to bring. So maybe you don't drive or maybe you don't have a car. And so somebody had to bring you to the interview. So that's great, but they should wait in the car in the parking lot. You shouldn't bring friends or parents or siblings into the interview. And definitely don't bring a focus on money, whether it be at 15 or 16 years old or 35 or 40 years old. You never want to talk about money. There'll be a time and a place to have that discussion. You want to make sure that you wear professional clothes. Again, you may think that you're running in to grab an application, you're going to run out, and they may say, hey, how would you like the interview right now? So you want to make sure that you're always prepared and never bring your cell phone. If you have your cell phone in your pocket, turn it off. If you're sitting in the lobby waiting for that interview and you've got your cell phone in your hand and you're looking at it, even though you understand that you wouldn't do that during the job, that the interviewer might think that if that's what you're going to do, then maybe you're going to do that when things are slow in the office. So you want to make sure that you do not use your cell phone as you're going into the interview process. Next, I want to talk to you a little bit about professional or unprofessional applications. A unprofessional application would be something like this. Right? Kind of scribbly, you can't read it. If you're going to fill out an application, you should probably do it printing, right? Not cursive. You want to make sure you complete all the fields. And so again, it goes back to bringing that fact sheet with you. If you have the fact sheet, you'll know some of the other dates and times and other information you might be able to fill in. So make sure that you fill out the application professionally. The next application, again, is incomplete and not professional. This individual hasn't filled out anything on this application. And me as an employer, as a manager, I would say they're not very sincere. They're really not looking forward to working here. This just looks kind of half-baked, right? So you want to make sure that the application is completely filled out. And again, it goes back to having that fact sheet with you that you could help you and aid you in filling out the application. Don't forget, maybe you haven't had a job working at another establishment before for a real paycheck, that maybe you've got volunteer experience as a babysitter, maybe working in the Little League snack shack, or perhaps doing house sitting for a neighbor. So you want to make sure that you can bring those previous experiences into your application. This next application is a professional application. It's completely filled out. Although the print might be a little small, it's very clear. You can tell that the individual that filled out this application understood what they were filling out, so all the information fit on the lines. So they kind of looked it over first before they filled it out. And you can tell too, based on some of the dates and some of the information here, that they probably had a fact sheet with them. So the next one is also a nice professional application. It shows an individual that took their time, completed everything, nice signature. It shows just a level of sincerity. So this application is good. The professional references are there. And it's also good to keep in mind that a professional reference doesn't necessarily have to be a previous employer. It could be a neighbor. It could be somebody that you've done volunteer work before. It could also be a youth pastor or somebody from your local church that knows you. So you can think outside the box as far as references go when it comes to not necessarily having to be a previous employer. Okay, next I'm going to talk to you a little bit about online applications. It seems like the trend today is more and more companies are using online applications. And you need to understand the format. You also need to follow up, and you need to keep records. And what I mean by that is sometimes the format on an online application might be a little bit different than filling out a paper application. You want to keep records of all your applications, especially those online applications, in a folder so that you can go back and refer to them later. Real important that you keep records of everything. The other thing is a lot of retailers today will ask you to complete an assessment. So you want to make sure that you have enough time to sit down and complete that assessment from end to end so that you don't have to stop in the middle, because many times you can't go back and it'll just look like a half completed assessment. So online applications are real important. And again, it's knowing to keep records so that you can go back and refer to them when they reach out to you. Also, highly recommended that you follow up about 3 days, 72 hours after you fill out the application online, follow back up with that particular company. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim, for covering the application process. And thank you out there for joining us for part 1 of our interview skills workshop. Next, in part 2, we're going to walk you through how to do an interview, as well as keeping a job. And we're talking about how you actually get more hours, promotions, and raises. And then to end, we're going to tell you how to leave a job the right way. So thank you for joining us for part 1, and stay tuned for part 2.